Success isn't what people think it is. It's not some grand event, a moment where the stars align and everything changes overnight. It's not reserved for the lucky, the talented, or the ones born into the right circumstances. Success is built in the smallest, almost unnoticeable moments. It starts with one small step, the step you take when no one is watching, the step that feels so insignificant you convince yourself it doesn't matter. But it does, because that one step, it's the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. It's the difference between regret and momentum. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where you knew exactly what you needed to do, but you didn't do it? You sat there thinking about it, debating, coming up with reasons why now wasn't the right time. Maybe you wanted to start working out, but instead you convinced yourself you needed better shoes first. Maybe you wanted to start a business, but instead you spent weeks researching and never actually started. Maybe you had a dream, a goal, something that excited you deep down, but every time you thought about taking that first step, you hesitated. And just like that, the moment passed. We all do it. We wait, we overthink, we let fear creep in. We convince ourselves that the first step has to be big, perfect, life-changing. But that's a lie. Success doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from the smallest, most ordinary actions, the ones that seem too small to matter, the ones that don't give you instant results, the ones that feel so easy to skip. There was a study done on habits and motivation, and you know what they found? The hardest part isn't doing the thing, it's starting. It's the moment before you take action. That moment where you feel resistance, where your brain tries to talk you out of it. But the second you push through that moment and take one small step, everything changes. Your brain shifts, you feel a surge of energy, you're in motion, and the second you're in motion, momentum starts to work in your favor. Think about it like this. Imagine a massive boulder sitting at the top of a hill. It's heavy, solid, completely still. If you try to push it, at first nothing happens. It resists, it takes effort. But the second it starts to budge, even just a little, everything changes. It starts rolling slowly at first, then faster, and before you know it, it's unstoppable. That's how success works. It's the hardest at the beginning, but once you take that first step, once you push past that resistance, you start building momentum. You know what most people get wrong about success? They think motivation is the key. They think successful people wake up every day feeling inspired, ready to take on the world. But that's not true. The most successful people aren't the ones who wait for motivation. They're the ones who take action first, no matter how they feel. They don't sit around waiting to feel ready. They take one small step, then another, and before they know it, they've built something incredible. So let me ask you, what's one small step you can take today, not tomorrow, not next week, today? Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's sending that email you've been putting off. Maybe it's putting your phone down and focusing on what actually matters. Whatever it is, do it. Because that one small step, it's not small at all. It's everything. Success is a game of consistency, not intensity. Most people think they need a massive breakthrough, a perfect plan, or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to succeed. They believe that success is reserved for those with extraordinary talent, intelligence, or connections. But that's not true. The truth is, success is built in the quiet moments, in the small, seemingly unimportant decisions you make every single day. It's not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about doing something, anything, that moves you forward, no matter how small. Think about the times in your life when you made real progress. It wasn't because you made a single life-altering decision. It was because you started doing the little things differently. Maybe you started waking up earlier. Maybe you started saying no to distractions. Maybe you stopped making excuses and took action even when you didn't feel like it. And over time, those small choices compounded into something bigger than you ever imagined. That's how success works. But here's the problem. Most people give up before they even get started. They take one small step, but when they don't see instant results, they stop. They assume their efforts aren't working. They assume success isn't happening because they can't see it yet. And that's the biggest mistake of all. The most powerful changes in your life happen long before you see the results. Success is like planting a seed. When you first put it in the ground, nothing happens. Days go by, and the soil looks exactly the same. But beneath the surface, something is happening. The seed is breaking open. Roots are starting to form. Growth is happening where you can't see it, and if you keep watering it, keep nurturing it, eventually it breaks through the surface. That's how success happens. You have to be willing to take small steps consistently, even when it feels like nothing is happening. People always talk about overnight success stories, but they don't tell you about the years of invisible work that came before it. The late nights, the early mornings, the doubts, the failures, the moments when no one was watching, but the person kept going anyway. Every success story you've ever heard started with one small step. The athlete who became a champion didn't wake up with a gold medal around their neck. They took one small step. The decision to train when they didn't feel like it. The entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar company didn't start with millions in the bank. They took one small step, the decision to start, even when they had nothing. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. It's that you're waiting for the perfect moment. You're waiting to feel ready. You're waiting for everything to be just right before you take action. But that moment will never come. There is no perfect time. There is no magical feeling of readiness. The only way to start is to start. Right now, exactly as you are, with whatever you have, taking one small step, even when it feels insignificant, even when you don't know if it will work, even when you're scared. Think about how many times you've talked yourself out of something before you even tried. You wanted to start working out, but you convinced yourself you needed more time. You wanted to speak up in a meeting, but you told yourself you weren't ready. You wanted to start a new project, but you got caught up in overthinking instead of taking action. And every time you hesitated, every time you chose comfort over progress, you strengthened the habit of staying stuck. But what if just once you did the opposite? What if instead of overthinking, you took action? What if instead of waiting for motivation, you created it? Because here's the thing, motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. You don't feel motivated and then start. You start and then you feel motivated. It's the small action that fuels momentum, that creates the energy you need to keep going. The reason most people fail isn't that they lack talent or intelligence, it's that they never master the power of small, consistent action. They start strong, but the moment they don't see results, they stop. They tell themselves it's not working, that it's too hard, that they'll never get there, and so they quit, not realizing how close they were to success. But you're different. You're here because you're ready to break that cycle. You're ready to take the first step, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's scary, even if it feels like nothing at first, because deep down you know that success isn't some distant dream, it's within reach. It's something you create, one step at a time. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have achieved what you want to achieve. They weren't born with something special that you don't have. They weren't given some secret formula. The only difference between them and everyone else is that they took action. They made a decision to move forward, no matter how small the step. And they kept going, even when it was hard. So what's stopping you? Fear? Doubt? The belief that you're not ready? Let me tell you something. Those feelings aren't real. They're stories you've been telling yourself, and you can change the story anytime you want. You are capable of more than you think. You are stronger than you realize. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to take one small step to. And here's the best part. Once you take that first step, everything else becomes easier. Your brain starts to shift, you begin to see progress, you feel a surge of confidence, and suddenly what once felt impossible becomes possible. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. The hardest part is starting, but once you do, you build momentum, and momentum is the key to everything. Every great achievement in history started with a single step. Every world-changing idea started as a simple thought followed by action. Every success story you've ever heard started with a decision, one small step forward. The people who make it aren't the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who are willing to move forward without them. So right now you have a choice. You can keep waiting, keep hesitating, keep telling yourself that someday you'll start, or you can decide that today is the day. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because the truth is the only way to change your life is to take action now. To do the thing you've been avoiding, to take the step you've been putting off, to stop making excuses and start making progress. It won't be easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you doubt yourself, days when it feels like nothing is working. But those are the moments that define your success. Because if you can push through those moments, if you can keep going even when you don't see immediate results, you will achieve things you never thought possible. Your future is being built right now in this moment with the choices you make today. And if you want a different future, it starts with one small step. Success isn't about luck. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or the right set of circumstances to align in your favor. It's about taking control of your actions, no matter how small they may seem, and choosing to move forward. It's about making progress even when you don't feel like it. Even when you're tired, even when the voice in your head is telling you to wait. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refuse to stay still. They're the ones who took a single step when everything in them wanted to stop. You have the power to make that choice. Right now, in this moment, you can choose to step forward or stay exactly where you are. And let me be clear, staying where you are is a choice. Every day that you put off your goals, every day that you make excuses, every day that you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you are choosing to stay stuck. And that's a hard truth to accept. But once you do, everything changes. Because if you have the power to keep yourself stuck, you also have the power to break free. Most people live their entire lives waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for the right moment. And in the process, they waste years of their lives never realizing that the only thing standing between them and success was their decision to start. The truth is, you don't need more time. You don't need more information. You don't need permission. You need action. And not just any action, the smallest possible step you can take today. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something. Because when you take that first step, you send a message to your brain that you are capable of more than you thought. You prove to yourself that you are in control. And when you feel in control, everything else starts to fall into place. There's a moment in everyone's life when they realize that nothing is going to change unless they change. Maybe you've had that moment before, maybe you're having it right now. That feeling deep in your gut that says, I can't keep living like this. I can't keep putting my goals on hold. I can't keep making excuses. That moment is powerful, but it's not enough, because if you don't act on it, it fades. It gets buried under doubt, fear, and distraction, and you go right back to your old patterns. But what if just this once you didn't let that happen? What if instead of waiting, you did something right now? What if you stopped thinking about what could go wrong and started focusing on what could go right? What if you finally stopped talking yourself out of success and took the first step toward it? Because that step, no matter how small, is the most important one you will ever take. You've probably heard people say that success is all about mindset. And while that's true, most people misunderstand what mindset actually means. It's not about thinking positively and hoping for the best. It's about training your brain to take action, even when you don't feel like it. It's about recognizing that fear and doubt will always be there, but they don't have to control you. It's about understanding that confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. Think about the last time you accomplished something you were proud of. Maybe it was finishing a project, running a race, or learning a new skill. In the beginning, you probably doubted yourself. You probably felt uncomfortable. You probably didn't feel ready, but you did it anyway. And by the time you finished, you weren't the same person anymore. You had proof that you were capable of more than you thought. That's how confidence is built. Not by waiting, but by doing. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they never start. They let the fear of failure stop them before they even try. But failure isn't the enemy. It's part of the process. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than they can count. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. They used failure as fuel. They learned from it, adapted, and kept going. So, what's stopping you? Fear of looking stupid, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being good enough? Let me tell you something. No one starts out great. No one wakes up one day and suddenly has everything figured out. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once terrible at what they do. The only way to get better is to start, to take the small, messy, imperfect steps that no one wants to talk about. The ones that don't feel glamorous, the ones that don't get you instant results, the ones that feel so small that you're tempted to skip them. But those steps matter more than anything. They are the foundation of success. And the best part, once you take one step, the next one becomes easier. The resistance you felt before starts to weaken. You build momentum. You start to see progress. And progress is addictive. The more you see it, the more you want to keep going. That's why the most important thing you can do today is something, anything that moves you forward. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop overthinking. Stop making excuses. Just start. Even if it's small, even if it feels insignificant. Because success isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about the thousands of tiny choices you make every single day. Look at the habits of successful people. They aren't doing anything magical. They're just consistent. They wake up and do the work even when they don't feel like it. They take small steps even when they don't see immediate results. They trust the process. And because of that, they create the kind of lives that most people only dream about. You can do the same thing. You don't need to be special. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take action right now, in this moment, before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it, before fear creeps in, before you start making excuses. Because if you don't, nothing will change. Think about where you could be 1 year from now if you committed to taking small, consistent steps every single day. Think about how different your life could look. Think about the confidence you'd build, the skills you'd develop, the opportunities you'd create. Now think about where you'll be if you don't start. Exactly where you are right now, stuck, frustrated, wishing you had taken action sooner. Time is going to pass no matter what. The only question is, will you be further ahead, or will you still be in the same place making the same excuses? The choice is yours. You can wait, hesitate, and let another day slip by, or you can take control. You can make a decision to do something right now that your future self will thank you for. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to be something. Because success doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in one big leap. It happens in the tiny, almost invisible moments when you decide to move forward instead of staying still. And the good news? You get to make that decision every single day. So, what are you waiting for? Success is a pattern, a rhythm, a steady beat that plays in the background of every decision you make. It's not some grand event that happens suddenly. It's the accumulation of the choices you make every single day. It's not luck. It's not a mystery. It's not reserved for a special group of people. It's available to you, to anyone who is willing to take that first small step, and then another and another. The problem is that most people don't trust small actions. They want big results, and they want them now. They want to see the finish line before they even start running. They want guarantees before they take risks. They want certainty before they make a move. And because they don't have those things, they stand still. They wait, they overthink, they convince themselves that they'll start tomorrow, next week, next year. But the truth is, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you delay, the more you train yourself to stay stuck. What if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment you just started, what if you trusted that small, consistent action would lead to something bigger, even if you couldn't see the results right away? Because that's how success works. It's like compound interest. The little things you do today might not seem like much, but over time they build, they grow, they multiply, and one day you wake up and everything is different. But here's the catch. Most people quit before they get there. They take a few small steps, and when they don't see immediate progress, they stop. They assume it's not working. They assume they're failing, but they don't realize that the work is happening beneath the surface. Just because you can't see the results doesn't mean they're not happening. Every small action is creating momentum, even if you can't feel it yet. Think about the last time you started something new. Maybe it was a habit, a project, a goal you were excited about. In the beginning, you were motivated, you were ready, but then life got in the way. You got busy, you got tired, you started making excuses, and before you knew it, you were right back where you started. Sound familiar? That's because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. You can't count on it. If you rely on motivation, you will fail. The only thing you can rely on is action. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. If you sit around waiting to feel inspired, you'll be waiting forever. But if you take action, if you do something, even when you don't feel like it, that action will generate energy, it will generate confidence, and before you know it, you'll be in motion. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You don't have to have a perfect plan. You just have to start, because once you're in motion, everything becomes easier. The hardest part is getting started. The hardest part is pushing past that initial resistance, that voice in your head telling you to wait. But if you can push through that, if you can take that first small step, you'll build momentum. And momentum is everything. It's what separates people who succeed from people who don't. The ones who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the most privileged. They're just the ones who keep going. They don't stop when things get hard. They don't stop when they don't see instant results. They trust the process. They take action even when it feels insignificant. Because, here's the secret, every small action you take is casting a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you show up, every time you take a step forward, you are proving to yourself that you are capable. And the more you do that, the stronger that belief becomes, until one day you look back and you don't even recognize the person you used to be. But you have to start. You have to take the first step, no matter how small. And you have to keep taking them even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when you don't see results right away. That's the price of success. The willingness to keep moving forward when no one is watching. The willingness to take small, seemingly insignificant actions day after day, trusting that they will lead to something greater. Most people don't have the patience for that. They want instant gratification. They want results now. And when they don't get them, they give up. They assume it's not working. They move on to the next thing, hoping that it will be easier, that it will bring them faster results. But that's not how success works. It's not about finding the perfect strategy or the quickest path. It's about staying committed, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Think about a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. At first, it looks like nothing is changing. They hit the stone over and over again, and it barely looks different. But they keep going. They keep chipping away. And then one day, the sculpture starts to emerge. The shape starts to form. And what once looked like a plain block of stone becomes a masterpiece. That's what success is. It's chipping away day after day, even when you don't see immediate progress. It's trusting that every small action is shaping you, molding you, transforming you into the person you are meant to be. And if you can keep going, if you can keep taking small steps forward, you will get there. It's not a question of if, it's only a question of when. But you have to make a choice. Right now, are you going to keep waiting, keep hesitating, keep telling yourself that someday you'll start? Or are you going to take control of your life? Are you going to do something, anything that moves you forward? Because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you permission. No one is going to hand you success. You have to go out and create it. You have to decide that you are done waiting, that you are done making excuses, that you are ready to take action, no matter how small. And when you do that, when you make that decision and commit to it, everything changes. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start to believe in yourself in a way you never have before. You start to realize that success isn't some impossible dream. It's something you can build, one small step at a time. And the best part, once you start, once you take that first step, you will never want to go back. You will never want to be the person who waited, who hesitated, who let fear win, because you will have tasted progress. You will have felt the power of action. And that feeling is addictive. That feeling will keep you moving forward no matter what. So stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop telling yourself you're not ready. You will never feel ready. But you don't need to be ready. You just need to start. You just need to take one small step today, right now, before your brain talks you out of it. Because that one step could be the start of something bigger than you ever imagined. Success is never about massive leaps. It's about the small, intentional steps you take every single day. Every action you take, no matter how insignificant it seems, is shaping your future. Waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for certainty, these are the traps that keep people stuck. The only way forward is action. The only way to build confidence is by proving to yourself that you can move even when you don't feel ready. You have everything you need to begin right now. The decision is yours. Will you keep waiting, making excuses, letting time slip away? Or will you take control, take that first step, and trust the process? Because success isn't reserved for the lucky or the talented. It's built by those who are willing to start. One small step, one moment of courage. That's all it takes to change everything. Now, it's your turn.